Good morning, everybody. I'm Demi Radeva, and I'm with Hit Like a Girl, and we're chiming in live from Health Europe today. And with me, I have Anna Luisa Schaffgotsch. Anna, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us speak to you. I'm Anna Luisa. I'm the founder and CEO of Impli. And at Impli, what we deliver is continuous hormone monitoring. So we build a medical device that enables us to capture hormone levels in real time. So think a bit like the future of glucose monitors. They do that for glucose, and we monitor estradiol, progesterone, and luteinizing hormone in real time. Our first application is IVF treatment, where we help women who have to go into a clinic every day to draw blood be able to do that from home. And our second applications and so forth are going to be in the menopause, polycystic ovaries, breast cancer, to really solve issues around not having the right data to deliver precision care in women's health.
Wow. What inspired you to start on this journey?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. So we've been going for 6 years. When I probably started this research 2 years before I launched the company. And I fell in love with what implantables can deliver in the healthcare space. So I feel like wearables are failing, where healthcare is really needing new data. And we're still using blood draws. This is something that we've done for, hundreds and hundreds of years, but it's not really delivering what we need to. Same as continuous glucose monitors really being prolific on the market was also a spawn of idea. And so we started kind of in that research. I met my co-founder, who is at Imperial College and a researcher, has been spending 15 years developing implantable sensors, published loads of papers in this space. And we both suffered from hormonal imbalances. Mm-hmm. So I've got polycystic ovaries and she had premature births and because of hormone imbalances. And so we understood the market. We understood that 50% of this people suffer from hormonal imbalances and there was no way to monitor. And so we decided to go into hormone monitoring despite what everyone was telling us. So 6 years on and this is where we are.
Why did you start the company now, given that there's a lot of headwinds in women's health and fundraising is ridiculously hard? So why now?
It's interesting because 6 years ago, this wasn't even a topic. So we started with zero. So now this is great. People are talking.
Yeah, there's a whole women's health summit here at Health today. So
exactly.
Yes, there's a lot of visibility. And one big thing that I've been trying to focus on is move and build on that visibility, but to viability in women's health technology. So I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that.
Absolutely. I mean, you need to know kind of what you're solving in the end, right? Mm-hmm. It needs to deliver the value that we see. And it's really important for women's health because in women's health, we only really have this chance right now. We need to prove that we can generate revenue. We need to prove that we build products that people want to buy. Mm-hmm. In healthcare in general, that's really hard. And in women's health, that's even harder because people are not used to buying. Mm-hmm. And so you need to break barriers, break ceilings and so forth. And so we just need the right people to continue banging on the drum.
In the US, we talk about something called the pink tax. I don't know if you're familiar with that. But when you talk about people buying and women having to pay for this additional care, tell me how you unpack that.
It's a difficult one because obviously you don't want to add extra burden to women that are anyways burden life and kids and all of that. I think that we need to build business models that are sustainable. I think women's health is a great disruptor of healthcare in general. I feel like healthcare is failing us in every country at every level. And I think women's health really gives us the ability to drive a new way of doing business and a new way of generating revenue where it's not a burden, but it's actually a benefit to what we do. I think if we solve a lot of the women's health issues in our pay differences and so on will follow as well. Issues in managing how we deal with childcare and so forth. These are important topics and I think we'll solve them. And I think women are able to pay for them. That makes them more money rather than less. And we just have to be mindful of creating good business models and not capitalistically driven maybe in some regards.
In Europe, maybe that's easier than in the US, or would you agree?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, everywhere has their own issues and problems and societarian problems. And obviously the US has theirs when it comes to equality and equilibrium. But then again, I feel like in the US, there's loads of equality. There are loads of women that have showcased that it can be done. And for example, in Europe, there are still very traditional family models. Like this is like, so different issues. But so I would say the same challenge in the end.
Yeah. You've mentioned quite a few headwinds. I'm curious, what are the tailwinds? What is helping you go to market faster, scale faster, and bring this innovation to reality?
I mean, we've got a really great media exposure right now. This really helps for people understanding that what we're doing is really useful and is beneficial. We've got huge consulting companies like McKinsey putting out reports that really tackle the economic issue so that we can explain it better to people who are empowered to deliver funds or decision making. And that's a huge tailwind we have right now. We need to take advantage of. And then the other side is that women are becoming empowered because the wealth shift is happening. And so I think this is a tailwind we need to take advantage of, because if we don't now, we're going to end up 20 years from now.
I guess looking ahead, what is your boldest vision for the future of women's health, and what role do you want your company to play in that?
I'd love to get to a point where we have more equality, where we have more awareness, where medicines aren't just thrown at women, but there's an actual care pathway that needs to be there. And so, for example, in contraception, now we put 14-year-old girls on contraception on the same dose as an adult woman. And this doesn't make that much sense. And so I'm hoping that we can overcome these barriers that are more widespread. Same with HRT and the menopause. And I'm hoping that we can be an unlocking factor because we deliver data. And not only the data we deliver with our devices, device sales are great, but it's actually the wider data that I'm really excited about. It's the data unlocks for product development, for pharma companies making better decisions, for including these data sets in building new pharmaceuticals that are actually looking at the reproductive health of women, which would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the biggest issues that we tackled is around segregated data in women's health. And so if you're building for an N of one, are you really building a women's health solution? And we really need that population health level data. So maybe talk to me a little bit more about the data and what needs to happen to make it valuable, to make it helpful to advance women's health.
Yeah, I think people have just put women into this here's a bell curve and 50% fit into the bell curve and everyone's happy and this is what it looks on average and as a white female and so on. And I think we need to think of women in a very different way. We have fingerprints of our own makeup that we need to look at, which is kind of where precision care is really becoming an issue. We need to look at women that are of different ethnicities, of different backgrounds. We have different periods at different times with different, these are things that we're completely ignoring when we look at the healthcare sector. When I'm in cycle day 3, I'm a different person than when I'm in cycle day 20.
Same.
Yeah. And so when I go to the doctor, I talk differently and I behave. And we look at this in sport a lot, right? Where we manage our sports cycles, but we don't look at it in when I go to the doctor and feel pain and so this becomes very complex all of a sudden. And so we need these data sets to be able to inform people what is actually precisely going on in that moment in that woman's body to then make a decision and take that into account.
What you just described is the essence of women's health being longitudinal. I myself have noticed when I was 16, my period was very different and much more sporadic than right now. It's like clockwork. So it's interesting how my body has changed over time. But women's health is also contextual, meaning it's informed and influenced by the context in which we live in. So I'm curious if you have any thoughts around social care or the environments in which we live in and how that influences our health.
Absolutely. And I think probably women know best, right? The minute you're stressed, your period. The minute you're stressed, your period doesn't come. These are stress-related issues. I had this, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I was quite stressed. And so I was like, oh my God, that's not good. And it gives you a huge warning sign. Yeah. But not everyone understands this. And it's a protection mechanism of the body. If the body doesn't feel like it can carry a child, it's not going to make your body carry a child. But it has impacts emotionally on us. And so it puts us into a much more vulnerable position when we're under stress, which is inequality, social inequality is then becoming an issue, because if we are more vulnerable, then that's something. Same with having a baby, right? Like women have that, your hormones go all over the place and you're going to have to manage it. And then all of a sudden you also have this child to take care of. And so I think that there's more social elements to it that we need to solve. And we need to provide equality that goes beyond you're the same as a man. We're not. Like, I'm not the same as a man. I'm a woman. And a man is a man. And we have different makeups. And so we need different support systems in social care. And I think at the moment, like, putting us equal, as in we're the same, isn't going to help solve the problem. Like, we have to say we're different and we need different things. And so please provide for those differences.
Wow. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you would like to add to our conversation?
I think you did a really great job at catching me. So I think that the one thing that I maybe want to leave with listeners is we all play a role in supporting each other. We all play a role in breaking down the glass ceilings that are around us. And I hope that people take that role really seriously, because it's the generation of our kids and our girls are coming after that really will benefit from having the ability to have the social care that they need, have the healthcare that they need, so that we can break some of these stigmas.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate everything you're doing for women's health. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening. You can learn more about us or this guest by going to our website or visiting us on any of the socials with the handle Hit Like a Girl Pod. Thanks again. See you soon. Again, thank you so much for listening to the Hit Like a Girl podcast. I am truly grateful for you, and I'm wondering if you could do me a quick favor. Would you be willing to follow or subscribe to this podcast, or maybe leave us a rating or review? Or if you're feeling extra generous, would you share this episode on your Instagram stories or with a friend? All those things help us podcasters out so much. I'm the show's host, Joy Rios, and I'll see you next time.